So it's been a really long day, and I've been thinking long and hard about my best and worst customer service issues. And the one that was the worst for me, one of the like a bad experience, was a time where I had my husband at the time now was my fiance at the time of this situation. And what had happened is that I was on shift. I was only working the front half for somebody of a 24-hour duty shift. So it was about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, right around the time I was leaving. And my fiance at the time had called me up and said, hey, who at the time was also working construction. Okay, this plays in. Calls me and says, hey, we just got off of work. You want to meet me up here by the mall to eat some dinner? And I said, yeah, sure, absolutely. I'm like, well, I'm in my I'm in my uniform. And he's like, I don't care. He's like, I'm all dirty. Let's go up to go get something to eat. I said, okay. So I'm in my uniform as a medic firefighter, and he's in his, been working all day out in the elements as a construction worker. And, so we're looking a little raggedy. And we meet up, and we go and get something to eat, which is fine. And then he's like, hey, I just got you this nice ring. Let's go get it cleaned. The jewelry shop's right around the corner. So we go over to the jewelry shop, and we walk in, and the lady takes one look at us, and you can just tell she's eyeballing us, and she's judging us from moment one because of the way that we looked. Now, not that there's anything to do with it. Together, working these jobs, we made a good living. We had a nice house. We have nice vehicles. We, and I have a at the time, very beautiful engagement ring on. And I walk in there, and she isn't noticing any of that. All she sees is me in a fire service uniform, and him in his dirty construction clothes. And she walks up. She's like, "Can I help you?" All snooty. And I said, "Yeah, I'm here to get my ring cleaned." She's like, "Well, only people who can, purchase rings in this store can get their rings cleaned here." And I'm like, "My ring is from this store." And my husband, or my fiance at the time, just was giving her a look like, "You've got to be kidding me." And she kind of gave this like, "I doubt that" look. And I ended up having to physically take my ring off and show it to her to prove to her that someone like myself or my husband could have purchased a ring from that store. And then afterwards, she took my ring, but she wouldn't speak to us. She was very, very snooty. And we were truly judged by the way that we looked, and treated poorly because of it. She went and she cleaned my ring, and she gave it back to me. And she, again, never said a word, wasn't pleasant at all, just was very put out by the fact that we were in there looking that way. And I guess, obviously didn't think that through when we walked in there, but neither of us thought either that we'd be treated poorly because of the way we were dressed. So that was my negative, experience as a consumer, or as a customer, I should say. The positive one, I always have to go back to my son Connor. My son Connor, he's 10 years old. I have 3 daughters, and my son Connor, man's right in the middle. And he's 10. Poor little guy. He has cerebral palsy, but he's also autistic. So the hits just keep on coming for this poor little guy. And if anybody knows, even just in our job, if you've dealt with an autistic child or even an adult, that they do get behaviors and can have some pretty outrageous outbursts at times. And my very positive experience actually happened during one of those times. It was at some point, somehow, I don't know how, I ended up just going out with my son instead of with all of the kids, or more than just him, to run to Walmart to go get, just some odds and ends. And I can tell he's starting to get agitated. I can tell that he is just not in the mood for this sensory overload. But I had to get what I needed to. And I ended up in one of these aisles, and he goes into a full-blown screaming. He's hitting, he's just kicking my butt. And I am on the verge of tears. And then, at this point, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. But people in public, they don't know what to do. They're judging you. They're looking at you, "Oh, what a terrible mother," or "Don't you know how to control your child?" People are looking at you. They won't come down the aisle. No one says they want to help you, God forbid. They just keep on walking. And I'm, again, I'm past the point of being embarrassed about it anymore, but I was just so frustrated. No one was even saying anything. I mean, I had parents pulling their children away and not coming down the aisle. And it just was getting real rough. And finally, there was a lady who worked at the Walmart. She saw what was going on, and she came up to me and she put her hand on my back and she goes, "Honey, can I help you?" And I said, I don't, and I couldn't really get anything out. And she did. She sat there with me. She didn't touch counter, man. It didn't even really like help hold him. It didn't need that, but she sat with me. And when people were like kind of staring, or whatever, she's, keep on moving. She was helping me out with that. Finally, counter man got over his issue. We ended up calming him down, and she was actually a big help with that, to be honest with you. She was funny, and she knew what to do. And afterwards, I kind of looked at her. I'm like, "Do you have experience with this?" And come to find out, she has a grandchild who is autistic and has a background, so she knew. Um, you know, I don't necessarily need the hands-on aspect of it. Maybe someday that'll be the case. But I definitely needed maybe the emotional, or I don't know, just someone being there. She didn't try to sell me anything. She didn't try to do anything. She just was a customer service agent for Walmart, and she was there for me to get me through a hard time and to just assist. And it was very pleasant. She remembers me. We remember her every time we've gone back since, and this has been a while now. She always waves. She never brings up the subject, but she always asks about them and sees how I'm doing, and she always remembers us, and it's just nice to see that there's people out there that will take the time to, first off, give you the time of day, and also just be there when you need them. And on top of that, I've seen her do her job too while I've been there, and she's always pleasant. She's always in a good mood. She's always got her makeup done and her hair done, like she's just came from the beauty salon, because she takes pride in her job. And whether it's Walmart or it's some hotty toddy place, she treated everybody equally, and she didn't judge us. And I'm glad she had the experience of having a grandson that had autism, because that definitely helped the situation. But I think she would have just sat there even if she didn't, just because she saw that I was having a hard time. So that to me was one of my better customer service situations. I mean, I've had others, but those two stand out. So the one negative being the person judging us for our looks and didn't think we could afford the place that we were in without even finding out what we did or why we were the way that we were that day. And then the negative being someone who took it upon themselves to go above and beyond their job description, to also take their job very seriously and have pride in their job every other day. So with the way that they look and the way that they act, and they always have a smile on their face. I think that goes a long way. And I think smiles are contagious. So, but that's my negative and my positive customer service story. So hopefully that'll work. So this is Christine Pruski signing off. Thanks.